Big news has now arrived on Gunners. You want to know all the details, so follow me until the end of the video. But first, if you are in love with Arsenal, show your love and subscribe to THE channel now and turn on notifications. Here we post daily news and behind the scenes of the biggest club in THE Premier League, Arsenal. Thank you. Is BenjaminSesko worth a £70 million gamble as Arsenal faces an extra £20 million in outlay? Mikel Arteta should seriously consider investing £70 million in BenjaminSesko to bolster Arsenal's trophy hunt. With just under 2 weeks left in the January transfer window, Arsenal has yet to sign any new players or make significant progress on targeted acquisitions. Following the recent draw with Aston Villa, Arteta was asked whether this heightened the pressure to bring in reinforcements. "Not based on the result at the moment," he replied. "When you look at the performances, I don't know how many teams are playing at this level in the league. When you check the bench, you might say we're quite short." This may not inspire as much hope among fans as some of his previous transfer commitments. Clearly, the biggest area of need is in attack, especially for a forward, which fans are desperately calling for. The name that keeps surfacing in discussions is BenjaminSesko. According to insights from Football.London, Arsenal's interest in the player is genuine and has not waned, even though a summer transfer didn't materialize. The Slovenian international signed a new contract that removed his previous release clause, and RB Leipzig is reluctant to sell this winter. While early talks about a potential loan have been far from reality, that doesn't mean a deal couldn't materialize down the line. Every player has their price, and despite Leipzig's hesitance, the January transfer window typically demands clubs pay a premium. So, how much could Sesko cost? His previous release clause was around £50 million, but given his recent impressive performances, including scoring in his last 4 Bundesliga matches, estimates have been thrown around, with £70 million being one of them. If that's the price, I would consider it a solid investment. At just over 20 years old, Sesko has made a smooth transition from the Red Bull Salzburg Academy to the Bundesliga and is now ready to embrace a new challenge. His numbers are certainly encouraging. In terms of salary, he would likely earn significantly less than older forwards like Viktor Gyokeres or VictorOsimhen. Looking at the transfer of Omar Marmoush to Manchester City, who moved for over £70 million after a similar streak of impressive performances, £70 million seems like a fair price in today's market. Investing in Sesko could be a game-changer for Arsenal as they seek to reclaim their place among the league's elite. Before we move forward, if you are Gunners, leave your like. This will help you to be closer to all the news from Football Club do Arsenal. Thank you. Why Mikel Arteta made a revealing comparison between Arsenal and Liverpool after the Aston Villa draw. Mikel Arteta didn't hold back when discussing how his team compares to Liverpool after the frustrating draw with Aston Villa. "As I sit down to write this, I can't shake the feeling that this just isn't the year for the Gunners. Some might wonder why it took me so long to arrive at this conclusion, but there's always that lingering hope that keeps you hanging on. If we were to list all the misfortunes Arsenal has faced this season, it would easily exceed acceptable word counts. The list of setbacks is extensive, and a significant portion could be dedicated to the 2-2 draw with Unai Emery's side. True, it's an improvement compared to the same fixture last season, and Arsenal has netted 4 more points against Villa this time around, despite perceptions that they're weaker. However, that's little comfort when looking at the league table. When Darwin Núñez scored a last-minute goal to give Liverpool 3 points, extending their lead over Arsenal to 7, it felt like a dagger to the heart. It seemed a third consecutive draw was looming for the league leaders. Arsenal had taken a 2-goal lead, thanks to excellent crosses from Leandro Trossard and beautiful finishes from Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz. The narrative was shifting, suggesting that the Gunners' attacking deficiencies were finally being addressed. Yet, it would ultimately be the area Arsenal is most renowned for, defence, that let them down. Thomas Partey struggled in every defensive situation, and there had been much discussion leading up to the match about the absence of William Saliba and who would step in. Many fans can agree they never want to see Partey in that role. But what's the alternative? There's Jakub Kiwior on the bench, but he hasn't exactly been solid in his recent outings against Fulham and Crystal Palace. It's questionable whether replacing Partey with Kiwior would yield a different result. Keeping quality players in central positions is a preferred strategy, especially in defence. Why shift players out of their natural roles when you could just stick with Partey? The statistics speak volumes. In 6 Premier League matches where the Ghanaian has started in that position, Arsenal has won only once. After the game, I felt compelled to ask Arteta about the impact of losing key players from their natural roles, but he didn't quite accept the premise. His response was, "I can't judge just because a player is playing in a position. There was more to his answer, and despite replaying it in my mind, I still can't fully grasp what he meant. It didn't seem to change the context or reflect the frustration he must feel regarding those numbers. On a brighter note, Ben White is on the mend and could return in the coming weeks, though Saliba's injury remains a concern. Arteta acknowledged this when asked for an update. "No, not yet. I think tomorrow we'll have more information," he said, adding that Saliba would undergo another test, and he would provide clarity afterward. When pressed about his level of concern, he admitted, "Yes, for sure, especially with the numbers we have in the squad and looking at our bench. Very worried." Then came perhaps the most intriguing part of the press conference. When discussing Liverpool's result, he referenced the substitutions made by Onslaught and their impact, comparing that to his own decision-making, specifically regarding Raheem Sterling. "There are moments when they managed to make changes that had an impact and changed the game," he noted. "On our side, it was the opposite. After conceding 2 quick goals, I was worried we could collapse physically. But then the team found another gear and kept pressing Villa, trying to score the goal we couldn't manage in the end." He's right. Sterling came on and failed to make an impact. But what other choices did he really have? Arteta has been hesitant to throw young players into the fray at the wrong time, leaving Ismail Kabia and Nathan Butler-Oidiji feeling like mere placeholders rather than genuine options. It's clear that Arteta shares the fan sentiment. There's a pressing need for more quality players, and they need to arrive soon. Whether that happens remains uncertain, but the Arsenal manager is not shying away from the relentless questions on the topic. Winning the league without reinforcements seems nearly impossible for the Gunners. They're battling numerous injuries and absences, and the players available are increasingly struggling to maintain their fitness levels with games coming every 2 days. And here we are, back at the beginning. I won't say I've given up. There are still cups to chase, including the Carabao Cup and the Champions League. But the league? That's looking increasingly challenging, and the final days of this transfer window could prove to be the most critical of the season. Exclusive, Arsenal shifts focus to sensational VictorOsimhen deal. Arsenal is reigniting its pursuit of Napoli star VictorOsimhen this month, sources have revealed to Football Insider. With Gabriel Jesus sidelined for the rest of the season due to injury, the Gunners are actively seeking a last-minute striker to bolster their attacking options. Sources indicate that Arsenal is exploring a potential deal for Osimhen, who is currently on loan at Galatasaray, and have made initial contact regarding what could be a sensational transfer. However, the club's interest is still in its early stages, and it remains uncertain whether a move for the prolific forward can materialize in the next 2 weeks. The need for offensive reinforcements. Osimhen has thrived during his loan spell at Galatasaray after struggling for form at Napoli. The Nigerian striker has netted 14 goals and provided 6 assists in just 18 appearances this season, clearly showcasing his talent. This renewed focus comes on the heels of previous reports from Football Insider in December, highlighting Arsenal's monitoring of Osimhen for a potential transfer. The Gunners have been plagued by injuries in their attacking ranks, with key players like Bukayo Saka also facing time on the sidelines alongside Jesus. Fans are growing increasingly vocal about the need for a new striker during the January transfer window in light of these setbacks. Currently, Kai Havertz stands as the sole available forward for Mikel Arteta, but he has struggled to find his form, failing to score in his last 3 outings. There are mounting concerns over the right-wing position, with Raheem Sterling emerging as the only viable option. Fans' hopes and Arteta's intentions. Arsenal supporters are convinced that Arteta is urging the board to secure reinforcements, especially after his recent comments in a press conference ahead of the match against Aston Villa, which emphasized the need for offensive additions. While it remains to be seen if a transfer for Osimhen will come to fruition, his outstanding season in Turkey makes the prospect all the more intriguing. The Gunners face a crucial decision that could define their season as they aim to strengthen their squad and keep their title hopes alive.